In the hyper-competitive world of Formula One, every seat on the grid is precious. Drivers dedicate their entire lives to reaching the pinnacle of motorsport, but for most, the dream remains just that, a dream. This is why the debate around Lance Stroll's place at Aston Martin is one of the most persistent and divisive in the sport. For years, fans, pundits, and even other drivers have questioned whether Stroll truly deserves his seat, or if he's simply the beneficiary of his father's immense wealth. But is it that simple? Today, we're going to take a measured, non-dramatic look at the case for and against Lance Stroll, and ask the question, is it time for a change at Aston Martin? First, let's acknowledge the unique context of this situation. Lance Stroll's father, Lawrence Stroll, is the billionaire owner of the Aston Martin F1 team. This fact cannot be ignored, as it provides Lance with a level of job security that is virtually unheard of in Formula One. But it also fuels the perception that he is a pay driver. This tag has followed Stroll throughout his career, and it's the foundation of the argument against him. The primary criticism leveled at Stroll is his performance relative to his teammates and his inconsistency. He is a driver who can produce moments of genuine brilliance. His pole position at the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix in treacherous wet conditions was a masterclass in car control. His podium finish in Baku in his rookie season was another standout performance. But these flashes of brilliance are often followed by long periods of underwhelming results. For every great race, there seem to be several where he is anonymous in the midfield or makes costly errors. This lack of consistency is a major weakness for a driver in a team with championship aspirations. Furthermore, after so many seasons in Formula One, many argue that Stroll has not shown the level of improvement expected of a driver with his experience. While he has undoubtedly developed as a driver, the fundamental gap in pace to the very best on the grid seems to remain. In a sport where drivers are constantly evolving and pushing the limits, the question is whether Stroll has reached his ceiling and if that ceiling is high enough for a team that wants to win world championships. And as we mentioned, he has had his moments in Formula One. A pole position and multiple podium finishes are not achievements that can be bought. They require real skill, and Stroll has proven on several occasions that he can deliver when the opportunity arises. His supporters would argue that these performances show what he is capable of, and that with the right car and the right circumstances, he can compete with the best. There is also the argument that Stroll provides stability to the Aston Martin team, in a sport where contracts are often a source of instability and speculation. Stroll's secure seat provides a level of continuity that can be beneficial for a team's long-term development. He has been part of the team's journey from its days as Force India and Racing Point, and he has a deep understanding of how the team operates. The debate around Stroll is not simply about whether he is a good or bad driver. He is clearly a very talented driver, capable of competing at the highest level of motorsport. The real question is whether he is good enough for a team with Aston Martin's ambitions. With the massive investment from his father, a new state-of-the-art factory, and a Works Honda engine deal for 2026, Aston Martin is a team that is serious about winning, and in Formula One, winning the Constructors' Championship requires two drivers who are consistently scoring big points. If there is a significant performance gap between the two drivers, it becomes almost impossible to win the team's title. This is the crux of the dilemma. As Aston Martin gets closer to the front of the grid, the spotlight on Stroll will only intensify. Every mistake, every poor qualifying session, every race where he is significantly off the pace of his teammate will be scrutinised. The pressure will be immense, and it will come not just from the media and the fans, but from within the team itself. The engineers, the mechanics, the strategists, they all want to win, and they know that they need two drivers performing at their absolute best to do so. It's also worth considering what replacing Stroll would mean for Aston Martin. On paper, there are several talented drivers who could potentially bring more pace to the team. Names like Carlos Sainz, who is currently at Williams, or even rising stars from the junior categories, could be options. But there are risks involved in making such a change. A new driver would need time to adapt to the car and the team, and there's no guarantee that they would immediately perform better than Stroll. Additionally, the disruption of replacing the team owner's son could create internal tensions that might harm the team's performance. There's also the question of what other teams think. While Stroll's seat at Aston Martin is secure, it's telling that no other team has ever shown serious interest in signing him. This suggests that, in the eyes of other team principals and decision-makers, Stroll is not seen as a driver who could elevate a team to the next level. This is perhaps the most damning indictment of all, that in a sport where talent is constantly being evaluated and sought after, Stroll has never been a target for rival teams. The comparison to other drivers on the grid is also instructive. Look at drivers like Lando Norris, George Russell, or Charles Leclerc. These are drivers who came into Formula One around the same time as Stroll or later. They have consistently outperformed their teammates, delivered under pressure, and shown the kind of raw pace that marks them out as future world champions. Stroll, by contrast, has not reached that level. While he has had good days, he has never been able to sustain that level of performance over a full season. Two other persistent narratives have also fueled the debate around Stroll, though the facts tell a different story. One is the rumor that Stroll has lost his motivation and even considered retiring, only to be stopped by his father. This claim, which originated from an unnamed Brazilian pundit, was flatly denied by Stroll himself. When asked about it, he laughed it off, saying, "I'm not sure where that came from. I guess he just wanted to say something. There's no plan to do that, and I have never wanted to." Another common assumption is that a top-tier designer like Adrian Newey would not want to work with a driver perceived to be underperforming. However, the reality is the opposite. Since joining Aston Martin, Newey has publicly defended Stroll on multiple occasions. He has stated that Stroll gets an unfairly bad rap and is much better than people think. Newey even noted that when you compare Stroll to his very strong teammates over the years, from Perez and Vettel to Alonso, he has always been there. Furthermore, reports from early in 2025 suggested Newey was positively surprised by Stroll's work ethic and energy. This public backing from the sport's most respected designer directly contradicts the narrative that Stroll is not wanted at the team. So, what does the future hold for Lance Stroll? As long as his father owns the team, it is highly unlikely that he will be replaced. But that doesn't mean the debate will go away. The 2026 regulation change will be a major reset for all the teams, and it will be a crucial moment for Aston Martin and their new partnership with Honda. If they produce a championship contending car, the pressure on Stroll to deliver will be at an all-time high. If he can rise to the occasion, silence his critics, and consistently perform at a high level, he could cement his place in the sport for years to come. But if the performance gap to his teammate remains, the calls for a change will only get louder. It's a unique and fascinating situation, and one that will continue to be one of the biggest talking points in Formula One.